David was an ordinary guy living a quiet life in a small town. He had a routine, a steady job, and not much ever changed. One day, completely out of the blue, he received a letter. It was from his great-uncle, someone he barely knew and hadn't spoken to in years. The letter was unexpected. It asked David to travel to his great-uncle's old cabin deep in the mountains and look after it for a while. David had no idea why he had been chosen for this task, but something about the request felt important, so he decided to go. David packed his bags and made the long drive into the wilderness. As he arrived at the cabin, he was struck by how isolated it was, surrounded by dense trees, far from any signs of civilization. The cabin itself was old and rustic, but it seemed untouched, as if waiting for someone to return. At first, everything was quiet. He explored the cabin and found strange things, old letters, faded photographs, and carvings on the walls. But there was something deeper, something about the place that felt mysterious, almost eerie. The nights were the hardest. David began to hear strange noises outside the cabin, footsteps in the woods, whispers in the wind. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but the sounds grew louder. Lights flickered, doors creaked open, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. As the days went on, David discovered more clues about his great-uncle's past. Hidden inside an old trunk were journals filled with stories of family secrets, passed down through generations. These secrets connected the cabin to something much larger, a mystery that spanned decades. David realized that his great-uncle had left these clues for him to find, leading him on a journey through the mountains, deeper into the wild. Following the trail of clues, David hiked to places he had never been, through forests, up mountains, and into caves where he found strange symbols and ancient relics. Each step brought him closer to understanding who his great-uncle really was and what his family had been protecting for all those years. But along the way, David also learned something about himself, about facing fear, about persistence, and about finding strength in unexpected places. As the days passed, what started as a simple trip to look after a cabin turned into a journey of self-discovery. David found himself in moments of isolation, wrestling with doubts and questions, but also finding a deeper connection to the world around him. When he finally returned to the cabin, he found a final letter from his great-uncle. In it, his uncle explained why he had chosen David, because he knew that David, of all people, would be able to unlock the mysteries of the past and find the courage to face them. David returned home a changed man. The quiet life he had once known was now filled with a sense of purpose, of connection to something bigger than himself. He learned that sometimes the greatest journeys aren't the ones we plan, but the ones that find us when we least expect them.